Welcome. This is definitely a very important session for us. So today we are talking everything about electrical, the tips and tricks, what you really need to know. When it comes to connections, especially at the meter box, we are used to these, and also at the consumer unit, you know, the DP MCB. Now, faults or errors. Number one, today we will be very fast using the wrong tool. Assuming you are tightening these screws, the worst mistake that you can do is to leave them loose. You know, so if you leave them loose, it means that even the cables that you are using will definitely not be tightened at that point. Assuming that this is the cable that we are using or we are talking about, you know. For us, at least, I have tried to backfold that cable, and then you tighten with a tester. It means that you will not achieve the grip, because assuming that I will not use a lot of force, because this tester might break. In many cases, you find that it breaks at this point. Why? Because that is the point of weakness. It is supposed to test. That is why it is referred to as a phase tester. When you place your finger at this point and you place on the cable, you're supposed to test at that point. So if you force it to do work that it was not meant to, it will definitely break. So what is recommended is definitely this tool right here. The Electrician's great tool for tightening screws. Why? I am also going to talk about it, because you see, I can still rotate it. It's still rotating, even after the tester indicated that indeed that was its maximum strength. So when we try to get rid of the cable again, you discover that another mistake was mis-screwing on the insulation. So that is another recipe for disaster, simply because that connection is not electrically sound. It may be mechanically sound because it is tight and all that, but not electrically sound. Another mistake we normally commit is leaving these parts outside even after tightening, you know. So you're supposed to ensure that all of that cable is in when you are screwing. So that is at that level. Tool mistake that we also commit is using these mechanical screwdrivers. So this is so it is very convenient, and can use it as a multi-purpose. One side you can use it as a star, the other side you can use it as a flat screwdriver. But there is a problem. If you are working on a live consumer unit or a meter box, and then it slides touching the face as well as the board of that meter box, meter board, or consumer unit, there will be a short circuit. We defined a short circuit, and we say that creation of or drawing of huge amounts of currents from the source within a very short period of time. Top boss, thank you so much for joining in. Smash that like button if you are ready to cruise with me on this cruise ship. And thank you so much. Let me know, where are you streaming from? What are some of the mistakes that you find or you once found yourself committing, especially when it comes to wiring? Do you enjoy wiring, especially at the meter box, at the consumer unit, at the meter board, whatever thing that you are doing as an electrical technician? Is it something that you do enjoy, my top boss? Hmm? I want to believe so, because someone said if you are not passionate about your work, then it will be so difficult for you to be excited waking up to doing that work. Okay. When it comes to these fittings, house fittings, simple like this one. This is a double pole, sorry, this is a double socket or a twin socket. Thank you so much for the likes. I can see you. I really do appreciate that. It means a lot. Also, let me know where you are streaming me from. I really do appreciate most of you who come to our comment section and interact with me or with us whenever you give a feedback. If you learn something, if you want us to improve on something, I really do appreciate that. So the same applies when it comes to socket wiring, be it the double, be it the twin, be it the single socket. Very interesting, you will find that so many people attempted to tighten these screws using the tester. Please let everything have its own use. Jonathan says he's streaming from Malawi. Thank you so much, Top Boss. I appreciate you, Jonathan. It means a lot when you give me that feedback. When you tighten, ensure that you don't use a tester kindly. A phase tester is only to test for the presence of current that is flowing either in the phase or in the neutral. We're not saying that we shouldn't even test the earth with a tester. It is important because sometimes you find that there is a huge problem, there is leakage, and the protective devices are not working, they are poorly connected, or they have malfunctioned. So you find that even the neutral as well as the earth connection has current flowing through it. So we want to make sure that we use a tester for that purpose. But when it comes to tightening these screws here, let us use the correct tool, isn't it? So even when you are wiring in a home, please ensure that you actually do a good job. Charles says, sir, how to test the earth rod. We will definitely be carrying out that exercise and I will be showing you how to do it. Testing for the general earth mass, the general earth resistance, as well as the continuity from every appliance or connection in the home or in electrical installation all the way to that earth rod or the point of connection. So thank you so much, my top boss, for that reminder. So this is the socket, and especially when we talk about the socket. And another thing is also the switches to watch for tight connection, for loose connections, as such as this one, double pole switch. Why is it a double pole? It switches both the line and the neutral. So you have to ensure that the connection is very tight because these ones will carry heavy loads. This is a 45 ampere switch. So you'll find that it is activating a geyser or that boiler as some people refer to it, or an instant shower head. We also have this important item here. Doesn't miss in a home. What do you refer to it, my top boss? What is the name? Let us be proactive on the chat, my top boss. Let me see if we are together. Right? What is the good name of this item? Look at how clean it is. Look at how heavy that thing is. Then we have that little part there, the smaller switch, the little boy activating this part. But this one activates another circuit. No? Look at that. What is the correct name for this, my top boss? One thing I really do appreciate about it as well is how heavy it is, not in terms of weight, but the attention to detail. Because the manufacturer knew what they were dealing with. Yeah. So this is a cooker unit, top boss. The cooker unit at this point is where you connect lighter kitchen appliances. You can even connect a mobile phone charger as you are cooking, a ring light as you are vlogging if you are a cooker who vlogs. But don't connect a cooker at this point. A cooker is connected at this point after the cooker connector has been connected. See, this is the cooker connector. So the cooker connector will be connected and then looped to this cooker unit. And this is the switch, the huge gang that activates this cooker connector. So that when you switch it off, the cooker connector is off. When you switch it on, the cooker connector is on. And that also means that the cooker itself is powered. So when you come to this, it is also a DP switch, double pole switch, because if you turn it, it switches on both the neutral and the line. But when you come to this section, once you have fed it at this point, you have the line and you have the neutral. This is a UK standard fitting. Don't know why they cannot label here Africa or Kenya. Anyway, that is a topic for another day. We have a fuse here purposely to support this side, this socket, and this switch. So once you feed it here, very important to note is the earthing connection, as you can see. But top boss, why is it that it is connected at, see, the earthing is usually terminated at this point and at this point, so that when you insert that screw, to be in touch with these parts. So that is the effort to ground every electrical parts to the earth connection. What is the difference between grounding and earthing? Let me know in the comment section, my top boss, what is the difference, the main difference between earthing and grounding. So this is a very light switch. Light, it is very light because it activates a light. So I guess that is why it is we can be forgiven for saying it is a light switch. So when it comes to connections, you can be forgiven to use a lighter screwdriver when it comes to termination of this, because it is definitely activating a lighter load. But now when we are talking about this, kindly ensure that the connections are not in any way compromised. They are not in any way loosely connected, right? They have to be very tight. So those are some of the mistakes that we normally commit as electricians if we use the wrong tool, all right? And when it comes to the choice of cables, it depends with the circuit. So allow me to just flip it like that so that we can talk for some time about the choice of cables. Why does the choice of cables matter? This is referred to as single cable, but with many strands, as you can see. So these are the strands. This company produces pure copper cables. Look at that. And like many companies that are not really focused on pure cable material, that is copper, right? So you find that other companies do not produce copper, pure copper. So thank you so much, my top bosses, for streaming with me in this live stream. I really do appreciate you so much. Yeah. So when it comes to another important aspect, another important thing to note when it comes to stripping cables. I have noticed that people use the wrong tool. Let me just share with you a tool that I have been using and it has been serving me so well. We are also going to talk about a multimeter in a little bit. Do you have this tool, my top boss? Look at that. Do you have it? And if you don't, is it among your to buy list or in your bucket list? Now they call it a bucket list, to do list, right? It is a very important tool, and I'm going to demonstrate to you very soon why. A stripping tool will save you on a lot of things. Assuming that we want to strip this cable right here, okay? So, and just these cables ready right here. So this is what we have, assuming that we want to increase that part that is already stripped. So using pliers, we will definitely straighten the cable, right? Ensure that those strands are straightened. So we are discussing about the difference between earthing and grounding. Earthing and grounding. Many electricians graduate from school without really grasping that. It is also unfortunate that many have been in the field for so many years, others for decades, but they can't tell apart earthing and grounding. So this is the tool that we are using, and at 12 AWG we are stripping a 2.0 mm cable at 12. Notice at 12 AWG. What did we say AWG stands for, my top boss? So you strip like that, right? You can see how easy it is for me to do that. You can tell that it is very easy for me, effortlessly. And the reason why I prefer this tool, in fact, I've been using it for stripping cables ever since I learned about it. Again, remember, these things we learn as we go. So you don't like wake up one day and you are like a pro. So the moment I learned about it, I have always enjoyed using it. I love using it because of the convenience. I noticed that when I use this tool, a side cutter or a pliers to strip, I compromise some of the strands. I end up denting some of the strands. And when you dent a strand, the moment you are supposed to make a connection, let's say you are connecting an RCCB in a circuit or an SPD, which we are going to talk about in a few, or a DPMCB, you find that that connection has few strands that are missing, because if the strands are broken by an electrician who was using the wrong tool, it means that instead of using 8 strands or 7 strands, you find that you will end up using about 4 strands. Now there's a problem with that, because those are lesser number of strands that you are using. Why is that a problem? It is because it has reduced the AWG gauge, the American wire gauge. It has reduced the millimeter, the size of the cable. If it was a 4.0 that you are connecting here, or a 6 or a 10, and the strands are reduced, you can definitely be guaranteed that that is no longer the same size of wire. It will end up compromising on the electrical flow, or the flow of electricity, or the flow of current basically. So if you are talking about the mains connection, if you are talking about circuits that heat, then you have to be very careful on how you strip your cable. Another important aspect when it comes to these important circuits here, like the cooker, we say that the size of the cable to be used is supposed to be a 6.0 all the way from the consumer unit. You see what you have here is a demo of what we normally have in the house. From the consumer unit, that circuit goes all the way to the cooker unit, and then from the cooker unit, it goes all the way down to the cooker connector. So we have our cooker connector at this point down here. Can you see that? This is the cooker connector, and then from here, we feed the cable to the cooker. That cable is a 6.0. Someone had asked me about the size for the mains, you know, the mains cable from the meter box all the way to the consumer unit. It is supposed to be what? Supposed to be a 10, right? Supposed to be 10. Why should it be 10? Assuming that you will have an electric cooker and you are using 10 cables, that means that the mains should be more than that so that it can make sense, isn't it? Assuming that you have like a river feeding at feeding a lake, will the size of the river be bigger than the lake? Does it really make sense? Or you have a tributary feeding a river which feeds a lake. Will you call it a tributary if it is bigger than the river? I don't know whether I'm making sense, my top bots, but I hope I am. By telling myself that AWG is the American standard. That is from Shadrach Ochiel. Thank you so much, Shadrach. Good to see you. You are also saying reducing the size of the wire increases the resistance, hence hindering the flow of current. And I agree with you 100%, my top boss, Shadrach. Yes, that compromising on the number of strands is detrimental. It increases the resistance. Remember, we learned in high school when I was in that class of physics, that the resistance of a wire is determined by the size of the wire, the material of the wire, and the distance, or the length, sorry, not the distance, the length of that wire. The longer the cable, the higher the resistance to the flow of current. The slimmer, hey, can I use the slimmer? The thicker the wire, or the bigger the cross-sectional area. Can we say the cross-sectional area or the diameter? The lower the resistance to the flow of current. So it is very important when purchasing a cable for a particular circuit. When you give a customer a quote, you as the electrician, you are a designer. You come up with specific cables. Now, I do understand that back in the days, the older electricians were using this cable, and up to today, the Americans are using this cable. The only difference is the color code, all right? So you find that when it comes to the American system, they use this cable right here. Single strand, or what they refer to as solid conductors. The solid conductor, they will have the red in white, and that will definitely be their line or their live. And then the black will be the neutral, or is it vice versa? According to the American system, is the neutral the hot wire? Is it the one they refer to as the hot wire, or is it the neutral? Which is which? Shadrach, I see he says the wire size from the meter box to the consumer unit should be higher than the largest wire size from the consumer unit into the appliances. Absolutely. You also mean in that for instance, in a domestic installation, we have the electric cookers, the largest circuit there. Hmm? Then if you have connected 10, does it mean the mains should now be 16? Jonathan says resistance increases when the size of the wire is reduced. Correct. Tush Clifford, thank you so much for coming in. And you say, I'm Tush Clifford watching live from Makejani. You are my inspiration and I learn a lot. Thank you. May God bless you. Wow. What a heartwarming message. I am an inspiration to you. Thank you so much, Tush Clifford. That message really lights up my heart and it means a lot. It gives me energy to keep going. So my question is, when we are wiring with these type of cables, we used to call them twin with earth, at least for us here in Kenya. You find that they will lay these cables bare in the ceiling, especially where there was dry wood. But with time, we came to discover that rodents love this insulation. So the rodents are eating up this insulation. And you find that in the ceiling, wood right there is very dry because of the high temperatures that are there. So that one definitely leads to a good recipe for fire in case these cables are eaten up and then they come together or they clash. Imagine what would happen if a neutral and a line, or a neutral and a live, or a phase cable clash or come together, or a phase and an earth cable clash. It means that there will be a short circuit. But we have the circuit breaker, which will definitely trip in case it senses that. I agree, there is no problem. But have you seen cases whereby after the circuit breaker or the MCB has tripped, people force that MCB to be up or to remain up? They use queer methods, very funny methods to make sure that the circuit breaker remains intact. So that is very, very unfortunate. So in that scenario, you'll find that there will be sparking. Sparking may result into a flame. That flame may escalate and burn the attached timber or the attached wood on this cable. That definitely results into losing a home. So that is why conduits, I prefer conduits regardless of the cables that are in use. So even if you have a customer who insists that I want to buy, imagine you have done your electrical installation, especially the pipe work for the customer. In your mind, you knew that these are the type of cables that you are going to use. And then the customer, after giving them the quote, they are convinced at the shop that, you know what, even these types will work and they are even much cheaper. Then the customer buys them, comes with them, and you're supposed to use them. What are you supposed to do? My experienced top bosses who have been in the field and you have come across such, what do you do then? How do you handle such a situation? Tush says, please make a video of master switch connection. All right, I will do that. Have you also checked the video that we did on consumer unit wiring, step by step? I will also be linking it here. There's also a video that I've done on meter box wiring. Feel free to check it out. I will also be linking that on the show notes so that my top bosses don't miss anything. Incredible. And also make a video on how to use twin with earth wire in lighting installation. So this is the one that we are actually talking about. If you are the one who carried out the pipe work and then the customer decides to buy this, and all through your planning you were factoring in the single cables, this one becomes a nightmare. Thanks, teacher. I am watching from Garowe, Somalia. Wow, Somalia is in the building. Thank you. This is Ahmed. Thank you so much, Ahmed Abbas. Video of ceiling fan installation is on the way. I will definitely do it for you, my top boss, Ahmed. Thank you so much for reminding me. So this is a twin with earth, and we'll definitely be talking about that. When it comes to wiring using single cables, we have done that video, especially how to wire the especially how to come up with the pipework system. We have done that. How do you pull cables through the conduits or the electrical pipes? We have done that. There is a video already. We also have a course, a domestic wiring course. You can access it and definitely learn all of these techniques and save a lot of your time and be the early bird when it comes to the field work, because we spent a lot of time before we could learn these basics. And I've also guided you on the right tools to buy, so that it becomes easier for you. You can go to the shop, buy these tools, and immediately start using them. My top boss, before I conclude our today's stream, what is the name given to this important tool? At what stage of wiring is it used? This one. Very important tool in electrical installation. What is the name? That is the assignment of the day before we call it a day. What is the correct name for this important tool? At what stage of electrical installation is it used? Top boss, let me see the responses. And if you are watching this video as a recorded version, also give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, depending on how it makes you feel. And let me also know your view. All right. Top boss, make a video how to wire UFA. That is George. I don't understand how to wire UFA. Or are you talking about UFA earthing? Sudesh. Sudesh Hassan says, hello from Nairobi, and I study Nairobi Polytechnic. Congratulations. Nairobi Polytechnic is a great school. And is it the one that was turned to TUK University? Technical University of Kenya? Atush says, used in bending conduit pipe. Awesome. Awesome, Tush. That is correct. Yeah, so my top boss, I really want to appreciate your time. Thank you so much for tuning in for this live stream. And we have learned that indeed tight connections, tight electrical connections are very important. When it comes to connecting these important devices at the meter box, at the consumer unit, you better use the right tool. We have said that this tester here is not a good tool for tightening, only for testing for the presence of current or a phase. What we need to use is definitely this tool. We have also insisted that this is a mechanical tool. If this is the only one that you have, take note of the difference of the two tools. What is the difference between the two? Just by looking at them, you will immediately know the difference, my top boss. So if you have to use this mechanical tool right here, there is a trick that we normally do as electricians. A simple trick. What trick is it, my top boss? If you use it, let me know. You have these. How do you ensure that it is safe while working? Stanley says, hey, top boss, my name is Stanley. Hmm? Stanley says, can you give us a little bit of on motor rewinding? Absolutely. I will do that. Motor rewinding, motor connections, as well as um, how to connect the motors, the various ways, methods to connect the motors. We have the three-phase, the single-phase DC, as well as AC. We will talk about the Y connection, the star, the Y connection, the delta connections, and we will discuss further when it comes to that, my top boss. So I've really been working behind the scenes to get the right people, the right material, so that you can be able to learn very deeply when it comes to that. Kingsley says, you are doing a great job. Keep it up. This is Kingsley from Nigeria. Thank you so much, Kingsley. Good to see you. And thank you so much for that feedback. It means a lot. Yes. So we have said that this is a mechanical tool. If you have to use it, if you have no option, please, before you use it, ensure that you use a tape to insulate it, so that in case it slides past that line or the face that you are working on and it comes in contact with a consumer unit or a metallic part of the electrical, then you are safe. Do not assume that everything is okay. Anything can happen. Another important tool is a bus bar. This is a very small bus bar for consumer unit, especially wiring. So the connections at this point also have to be tightened. Sure that the connections are very tightened, because loose connections, like we normally say here at Top Heights Electricals and Electricians, are a recipe for disaster. Stripping tool, very, very important. We have also touched about that. We have talked about reducing the number of strands by using the wrong tool while stripping the insulation off of a cable. So if you use the wrong tool, it means that you will weaken the strands or you will break them, reducing them. That means that the size of that cable will be reduced. And that definitely, we have seen that it goes ahead to bring about issues of resistance, because we have said that if the size of the cable is reduced, then it means that it will have a lot of resistance. What an interesting live stream that we have had. Thank you so much, my top bosses, for joining me. Let me know what you would want me to talk about tomorrow or in the next live stream, and I will be glad to do a lot of research and definitely come up with more information so that you definitely stand out to benefit, my top boss. We learn together out of these videos or out of these live stream. And if you'll be watching this as a recorded version, my top boss, piga hiyo like, as well as subscribe to my channel, Top Heights Electricians PLC, and I will really, really do appreciate. Let us interact on the comment section. Let us have this community rolling and going on, so that we can be able to bring or consolidate the information that we want and learn under this platform. Also, if you are a student and there is someone who you would want to know about this channel, please let them know about it. My name is John Gatehi, and this is Top Heights Electricals and Electricians. Goodbye for now.